chosen.
This can be counted as a prediction video to document the escalation of a series of events which will go on to change the course of history. Recall that I made this statement in video titled Cube Post Marker 9. And 6 takes us here, Saturday. 6 is the 9th week on the Q drop. So since that video, this more thorough calendar has surfaced. It shows the particular Q drop that lists weeks going through week 10 here. There's an additional code. There's a Q drop dated June 3rd, 2018. This particular Q drop is a 2-year delta from the June 3rd, 2020. Starting at that date, the tweet has the words boom, 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 boom 4 times. The interpreter understood this as code for boom for each respective week of June. Boom could represent revelations, it could represent prosecutions, a number of things. The 5th week will then be a week to remember. As we know, the 5th week was a week in which Ghislaine Maxwell was apprehended. The next week, Dark to Light, was the week before, or last week. Last week began the emergence of several significant revelations, which I'll cover in this video. This current week, Blackout Necessary, could be interpreted as blackout of Q being necessary. Interestingly, Q has not posted since July the 2nd and just resumed posting on July the 17th, yesterday. The 12th week in a series, Q week, is this coming week. I'll show you some examples of how events transpiring during Dark to Light seem to be building in a specific direction that will lead us to a potentially very exciting and transformative 12th week. If all this is true, the 12th week will end the first part of the Q cycle. So many unusual events have occurred over the past few weeks. I will be highlighting some of them. You had this instance here where RFK Jr. touched his nose when asked by someone in the audience to do so if JFK Jr. was still alive. I'll show you that here. Touch your nose, to touch. Touch your nose, to touch. So in this era of Ghislaine Maxwell being taken, we have the Wayfair issue. Tommy G is a great account to follow on Twitter. He summarizes.
About this, before we go there, here is a history for Wayfair from last year. They had an issue where employees planned Wednesday walkout after learning they are making beds for migrant detention centers. Whatever you want to call it. Darian found this. See that cabinet? Keep a note of that. Samaya cabinet. $13,000 for that cabinet. What these people do, I'll tell you in a second. Samaya is a girl that actually went missing not too long ago, just months ago, and in Ohio. What they do is when they're selling these children on these sites, they hide it, and they make astronomical prices for cheap goods. And
$1,499. And the thing is, when I clicked through, a lot of them were identical cabinets in dimension and number of shelves. So I just thought it was really weird, and I tweeted. And then I took a vacation. You might recall I wasn't here for a couple weeks. I didn't do a video for a couple weeks. I did other things. I just got my mind off of the world for a while. But I came back and oh my goodness, this thing, Wayfair Gate, had grown. It had grown up, I assume, from that original seed that I planted. And all of the...
So yes, she takes credit for the planting of the Wayfair seed, which has grown into quite a nice plant today. She has a YouTube channel called The Amazing Polly. Recommend you also check her out. In the same time frame, about 4 days ago, this really bizarre video surfaced. I'll play the last segment of it.
But surely the price on this Regency-style sofa can't be correct.
With Wayfair it can.
She said with Wayfair it can. Basically, it was a video that used a little girl as a model to advertise Wayfair furniture. With what Wayfair has already been implicated in, it's easy to understand how simple videos like this can be used to unclean ends. Just 3 days ago, a really odd clip surfaced with Tom Hanks in interview discussing his symptoms when he had this. Notice how he characterizes the symptoms here.
You have you ever had a really sore butt, Steve?
Yes, I have, Tom. Yes, I have.
Just like it felt like your older brother had held you down and just kept fisting you in the buttocks, until you'd said something like, "I love Flipper." Say it. I love Flipper. Say it. I love Flipper. Well, I finally said I love Flipper, but it felt like my butt was just so sore.
I will never watch the television show Flipper in the same way now.
This tells you something about the relationship of me and my older brother, in which I was forced to admit that I loved.
In which I was forced to admit that I loved. So, can you see the problem with Hank's statement there? It appears we have history which may suggest the source of Tom's issues. Then, on a positive note, we have this predictive tweet by Lily Starseed of Donald Trump in the Rose Garden.
Many exciting things that we'll be announcing over the next 8 weeks, I would say. Things that nobody has even contemplated, thought possible, and things that we're going to get done, and we have gotten done, and we've started in most cases, but it's going to be a very exciting 8 weeks. 8 weeks, like I think, Mike, we can honestly say nobody's ever going to see 8 weeks like we're going to have, because we really have. We're taking on immigration, taking on education, we're taking on so many aspects of things that people were hopelessly tied up in knots in Congress. They've been working on some of these things for 25, 30 years. Wasn't happening. But you'll see levels of detail, and you'll see levels of thought that a lot of people believed very strongly we didn't have in this country. We're going to get things done. We're going to get things done that they've wanted to see done for a long, long time. So I think we'll start sometime on Tuesday. We'll be discussing our one plan on suburbia, but that's one of many, many different plans. That we're going into the world of immigration, the world of education. We're going into the world of healthcare, very complete healthcare. And we have a lot of very exciting things to discuss. But cutting of regulation has been really something that I felt we could do, and we could do fairly easily. Nothing's easy in this country.
Then we have videos such as these, which have emerged from Portland, Oregon.
How are we supposed to know who you are? How are we supposed to know you're not kidnapped?
So it could be a prelude for things to come. This unusual backpack emerged with the shadowed image inside of it that appears to be a human face. The store, which was Amazon, removed the face once it was brought up to their attention that it was there. This past week, an interview with Sean Hannity and Trump surfaced. This was the February 27, 2015 CPAC conference. Hannity seeks one-word responses from Trump regarding specific people, places, or things. Watch Trump's body language with a suck of air when Bill is mentioned. Listen closely.
Bill Clinton. Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Just yesterday, it's demonstrated that the Justice Department will give an update on when it expects to get the report regarding John Durham. Spokeswoman for the DOJ, Carrie Kupek, stated, "We are hopeful we will expect to see a report by the end of the summer." Also, just days ago, Virginia Roberts, an accuser of Ghislaine Maxwell, stated that she believes that Ghislaine is the Geppetto, while Epstein is the Pinocchio in the whole matter, meaning Ghislaine, who was recently apprehended, is of much more importance. Do not forget the very important July the 2nd Q drop. Argument: Maxwell is not a big enough name to trigger a mass awakening. Q's counter-argument: do not make statements based on assumption of worth and or value. Do not think today, but rather after today. One leads to another, to another, to another. One leads to many. And not to be left out, that individual known as Austin Steinbart happens to be greatly expanding his operations throughout this period too.
In that video, which is also very epic.
Very epic.
So we're going to move on to talk about
maybe that was developed 20, 30, 40 years ago, and we just don't know about it yet. And it's still SpaceX, Starlink, the quantum internet, and Neuralink.
Physical body. Hence the concept of quantum consciousness. Whoever controls the mind controls the soul. Mind control is used to form socially acceptable beliefs.
And let's not forget about the hidden king, Joseph Gregory Hallett, claiming to be King John III of England.
Artificial insemination by Winston Churchill, who was actually the illegitimate son of King Edward VII.
Hang on.
I know, it gets too much.
So, all that said, while it is not good to set dates with regards to future significant events, I would say the evidence exists that the last few weeks have been intensifying. Could this next 12th week be Q week? We shall see.